I didn't believe my son, and I almost lost him forever. You think you know your children. You think you'd recognize a lie. But I was wrong, and it almost cost me my son's life. My name is Richard Cole. I'm a father of 3, and this is the story of how I abandoned my son when he needed me the most. Because I believed a rumor that shattered our entire family. A rumor that came from someone we trusted, someone we raised like our own. It started on a calm Sunday evening. We had family over, my wife's sister, her husband, and their daughter, Lily. She was 10 years old. Sweet, quiet, a bit shy. My son, Caleb, 19 at the time, was home from college. He'd always been quiet, loved photography, gaming, working part-time at a camera store. He barely interacted with the younger kids, always respectful, always polite. The cookout went smoothly, or so I thought. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen to find my wife pale and shaking. My sister-in-law stood beside her, tears streaming down her face. Lily was sitting at the table, eyes puffy from crying. She said Caleb touched her. My sister-in-law whispered. Time stopped. What? I choked. She told me last night, after we got home. My wife nodded, swallowing hard. She wouldn't lie about something like this. I stood there, in disbelief. I wanted to say, that's impossible. But instead, I believed it. I confronted Caleb immediately. He was eating cereal, headphones in. Is it true? I asked, voice shaking. He looked up, startled. What? Lily. She said you touched her. His face went pale. What? Dad, no. I didn't even talk to her. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to, but my wife was sobbing, my sister-in-law was furious, and Lily was 10 years old. A child. I told Caleb to leave. When he protested, I screamed at him, called him a monster, told him to pack his things and get out, or I'd call the police. He broke down crying. He begged me to look him in the eyes and see he was innocent. But I didn't. I slammed the door behind him. We told friends and family Caleb left for school early, that he had issues, that we were giving him space. The truth was uglier, but no one asked questions. Because when the word molestation gets whispered, everyone goes quiet. My daughters, Sarah and Emily, distanced themselves. My wife buried herself in her job. We boxed up Caleb's things, removed all his photos from the living room. I tried to forget, tried to convince myself I did what any good father would do. But late at night, I'd remember the look on his face. That hurt, that disbelief. Almost a year passed. Then one night, I got a call from my brother-in-law, Lily's father. He sounded strange, shaky. Rich, I think we need to talk. He told me Lily had broken down in therapy. She admitted she lied. Why? Because Caleb caught her trying to sneak one of his cameras during the barbecue. He took it back and told her not to touch his things. She was embarrassed and angry. So she said the first thing that came to her mind. A horrible lie. And everyone believed it. Everyone, including me. I packed my bags that night. Drove until dawn. I called every number I had for Caleb. All disconnected. I contacted his college. They said he dropped out months ago. I visited the city where he used to work part-time. Found out he'd been living in a shelter. Then, finally, someone gave me a clue. A former classmate said Caleb was renting a small room above a garage in Indiana. I drove 5 hours. When I knocked, he opened the door and froze. His face was thinner, eyes hollow, beard scruffy. A camera lay on a table, cracked and dusty. Caleb, I whispered. I know the truth. Lily admitted it. He stared at me for a long time. Then, without a word, he shut the door. I didn't leave. For 3 days, I slept in my truck outside his building. Left notes, photos, old pictures of him smiling on fishing trips, birthday cards, his high school graduation tassel. Finally, on the 4th day, the door opened. He didn't say a word. Just let me in. I apologized. On my knees. Begged him to believe how sorry I was. He didn't hug me. Didn't cry. He simply said, "You didn't even ask me. You just threw me away." That hurt more than any punch I could have taken. Caleb told me everything. How he'd lived out of his car. How he'd sold his camera to eat. How he'd almost overdosed from pills he bought out of desperation. How he had written a suicide note 3 different times, but couldn't bring himself to send it. He said the worst part wasn't losing his home, or school, or his dream job. It was losing me, his father, the one man who should have fought for him, who instead buried him under a lie. When I returned home, I packed my bags, Told my wife I wanted a divorce. She didn't fight it. She still believed Lily, even after the truth came out. Said she was just confused. Sarah rolled her eyes. Said Caleb was dramatic. Emily cried. She missed her brother. She was too young to understand the full scope. But I was done defending people who lived in comfort while my son lived in hell. I moved to Indiana, rented a cheap apartment near Caleb's. I didn't force myself into his life. Just showed up, week after week. Groceries, coffee, repairs, support. He finally opened up. About a girl he liked. A possible job at a local art studio. He smiled sometimes, but never for long. He's still broken, still healing. But I'm there, every single day. Because sometimes love isn't loud. Sometimes it's just showing up and meaning it. I thought the worst was over. I thought the truth had finally settled in like ash after a wildfire. But the thing about liars? Sometimes they don't stop, especially when they've never truly been held accountable. It happened about 3 months after I moved near Caleb. One quiet afternoon, I got a call from my ex-wife. She was hysterical. "It's happening again," she sobbed. Lily said Caleb followed her home from school. That he tried to talk to her. "She's terrified, Richard." My stomach dropped. The ache in my chest returned instantly. The same pain I felt the day the first accusation was made. I wanted to scream, to rage, to tear my hair out. But I didn't. Because this time, I asked a question I should have asked years ago. "Where's the proof?" She paused. "What? Did she take a photo? Did anyone see? Was there a witness? A camera? Anything?" She stammered. "No. But why would she lie again?" Because she did lie, and no one made her face the consequences. I hung up, drove straight to Caleb's place, heart pounding. He was home, calm, confused. He hadn't even left the apartment that day. He'd been on a Zoom call for an art exhibit, with timestamps, video recordings, and emails to prove it. I checked the footage. It was all there. Lily had lied. Again. The next day, I called my ex-wife and told her if she ever slandered Caleb again, I would take legal action. I called my sister-in-law and demanded she put Lily in serious therapy, not to treat her as a victim, but to confront what she'd done. I told my daughters the truth. If they chose to believe lies out of convenience again, they would lose me for good. Caleb didn't even seem surprised when I told him. Just tired, exhausted. He looked me in the eye and said, "This is why I don't trust easily. One whisper, and it all comes crashing down." That broke me. So now I don't just show up. I defend him, loudly, publicly, without hesitation. Because silence is what damned him the first time. Not again. To all parents out there, don't be so quick to believe what's easiest. Don't protect your pride over your child. Ask questions. Listen closely. Trust, but verify. Because sometimes the damage done by disbelief lasts longer than any lie. And in my case, it nearly killed the one person I should have protected most. Thank you for watching, and if you want true Reddit stories like this again, please like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell for more.